Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco. This is episode 17, and the topic is narcissism. Are you dating a narcissist? And what is narcissistic triangulation, which generally happens amongst people in relationships, or it can happen not only in relationships amongst friends. But just to give you an idea of what the podcast It's Your Voice is all about, it's a hybrid of topics under mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. And the title was born out of the DonnaGentileStory.com, a true crime book I wrote, which is available on Amazon, a woman who was silenced, and It's Your Voice was born out of her story. And my work is TantraWisdom.com as well. So you can check me out, and let's get on with our topic today. Okay, so what is a narcissist? Well, narcissism exists in every aspect of any type of relationships, not only romance or love, but people that generally have elements of being a narcissist or are a full-on end narcissist. If they're full-on end narcissists, they can be clinically they need a lot of help because they're very split, they're very armored, and over time they are continually being cut from their own feeling and they have poor judgment eventually. But what is a narcissist? Are you dating a narcissist? A narcissist, you want to the catch things and before they become more involved. So looking out for the red flags. A narcissist is someone with an inflated sense of the self importance. So they feel that they're better than everyone. They have this inflated sense that they're they're very highly recognizable in the world, and so it's normal to want to be important and respected, but not in a sense of inflation. Generally, narcissism exists more in men than women, but it's both ways. They have this need for admiration, so they're very connected to the ego and they're very cut from the feeling. They have a disregard for others. So in other words, they're others' feelings. So they may be value you at first, but then you will see that there's a disregard for your feelings. So it's all on the surface with a narcissist. They have the inability to handle any criticism and they have a sense of entitlement. So they're unable to the inability to handle any constructive criticism or any type of criticism at all. So again, constructive criticism or pointing the finger are two different things, and it is the way you express your feelings towards someone, or if you want to make them become aware of something, it is the way in which you do it. So if you're overly criticizing someone, anyone will take offense. But entitlement, so this entitlement attitude, now our world is full of narcissism and entitlement these days, and I think this personality is being born regardless of the type of upbringing you've had. It's a new personality, this narcissism existing in our world. So a lot of people have some elements of this, but entitlement, feeling like that they're entitled to have everything or better things. And again, it's inflation. It's like being separated from the body and more in an overdeveloped ego. They have fantasies of unlimited success and power. So they create these fantasies that they're this person of wealth or power, or someone that is highly up in some recognizable position where the world knows who they are. So they sort of have a sense of fantasy about being powerful, and they lack empathy. Empathy is important for your own connection of your own feelings. So if you lack empathy, you don't have feeling of your own. And the feelings, the way we connect to our own feelings and others' feelings is through empathy. They're known to gaslight you. And gaslighting means, manipulation, putting the flame under you, manipulating you, blaming you, belittling you, putting you down, taking control of you. It's terrible. It's horrible. I mean, narcissists, they will give you a lot of attention in the beginning. They'll overvalue you, but then after they get you in their web, once they get you in their web, they suddenly drop you. And like as if you're not good enough for them or no one is good enough for them. And most people, or a lot of people that exit the narcissistic relationship generally need counseling. They become the victim. So the narcissist is never the victim. You must be careful because this is a serious damage to someone's emotional, psychological self. Now, of course, they'll judge you, pick on you, belittle you. A lot of emotional abuse takes place. But then again, I find narcissistic people amusing. And it depends on how much you are being triggered, how much of yourself have you worked on, how much pain is living in your body in dormant areas that you will be triggered. Or you might be so armored and blocked that when they do drop you at some point because you're not good enough for them, then you might start to open up and heal and become, your triggers may become more apparent, where you'll have to really awaken up to therapy. They generally hog the conversation. So notice when you're speaking to friends how much of the conversation that they take control of, that they become the lead, that they don't have time to listen to you. They have no long-term friends generally, and they need to be right about everything. They generally don't apologize because to them, they never did anything wrong. They don't hear you. They don't understand you. This is the narcissistic personality. Are you dating a narcissist? They don't even try to compromise. So if you are dating someone that is a narcissist, you want to look for the red flags, because in the end, you will become a victim and you will need therapy. I've had many relationships, but over time, as you work on yourself, you'll attract better people. So if you wrong them, they have a bruised ego and they look for sympathy. They will badmouth you to save their own face. They will badmouth you behind your back. Their total being is, they're a total betraying you the whole time they're in the relationship with you. Everything is everyone else's fault. So other symptoms that of a narcissist would be, let's see here, I'll give you a few more. Again, the exaggerated sense of self-importance, the entitlement, they require constant, excessive admiration. Of course, preoccupied with fantasies, they take advantage of others to get what they want. So you need to open up and listen to yourself. You need to really work on yourself so that you can notice the type of person that you're dating. Really, they're in love with the idea of love, and you become connected to their ego, and that's the fantasy for you. They insist on having the best of everything. You can buy them gifts, and if it's not the best designer brand, they will retaliate. If it's not the best car or the best, place for them to work in, the best office, the best, they will retaliate. They will feel like that their power is being taken. So again, it's all false. It's pseudo power with these people. And it's very sad because a lot of narcissistic people are beautiful people and they have hearts, but they really need the therapy. And what causes people to become narcissistic? There's many things. It's environment, parent-child, a lot of time relationships, or even just the environment, where they're growing up and what's going on in the household, genetics, inherited characteristics. Now, there's a lot of transference that Dr. Wilhelm Reich would talk about, that happens in personalities and character, that we get a transference. That will be more environmental. And then there's the neurobiology, the connection between the brain, the behavior, and the thinking. So if the thoughts and feelings and actions aren't aligned and they're constantly off balance, then there can be a setback, irregular personality type, irregular behavior, where the person would automatically start to form and shape and become this narcissistic personality because the armor, the feeling is cut. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. And I believe in divorced families, children should definitely seek out, parents should seek out therapy for them, because it is something that is definitely to help them move through and adapt and adjust to the newness of the parents being separated. So then we have I want to get into what narcissistic triangulation. And this is something that can happen during the relationship or after. What is narcissistic triangulation? The narcissist needs to get attention. They play people against each other. So what that means is that instead of going to your mate to talk to them about what you want to say, you bring it to their friend. And now their friend's feelings get involved in this whole triangle. It becomes triangle. You might want to tell your significant other something, but you go to the friend or another person. And now you're bringing them into the feelings of what's going on between you and your friend. But see, the narcissist doesn't have the feeling for you, has the feeling, doesn't have the feeling to come to you because there isn't any intimacy to begin with. It's bringing this other person into the dynamic while giving them control over the communication process. And now you have a mediator in your relationship, so to speak. But then again, the intimacy isn't there, so the two of you really aren't connected in a communicative or empathetic way. So this third party makes the partner feel as if they have to compete. So the partner starts to feel belittled. And again, this is a whole betrayal thing. It has nothing to do. It's not about people cheating. It's just about bringing someone in and airing the dirty laundry out to the friend, like she did this, he did that, yada, yada, yada. And then you start listening to that person's approval and getting their opinions as if they're the authority on your relationship. This is bad because then it becomes like a fixation. So the partner can feel as if they have to compete or earn the attention of their lover. And again, it's belittling and betrayal. It's another way of manipulation tactics and control. So how to stop triangulation, how to avoid the pitfalls of a third person in your relationship. Relationships, number one, are always a challenge. But triangulation is when this third person gets involved in what we call your conflict, your miscommunication, where one invites the third person again. Basically, in other words, in a nutshell, it's your partner is talking behind your back to someone else about you. And that person is giving them advice. And that person is giving them good advice or bad advice, good support or negative support. So if that third party is giving them negative support, you can be sure your relationship is just about over, because then they become connected to that other person because they can't be intimate with you. And this is where it is. It's an intimate thing. They don't know how to be intimate because they're narcissistic. They're cut from the feeling. But they try to have feelings, so they go to the third party. But if the third party is not supportive of the relationship, you can be sure that your partner is going to listen to that other person. That partner will put you down. But if that partner is a supportive partner and tries to help their friend, then you have a chance in the relationship. It's not a good thing because another person's feelings get involved in this whole thing. Thoughts, opinions, they're all involved. So it's best to try to talk to your mate. But again, therapy needs to be addressed here. People need to get the therapy, both of you as a couple and as on your own. So try not to invite this third person into the triangulation. It is making a triangulation of this, because what happens is it's politics. It's relationship politics. You only want to talk to a third party, that being a therapist or a very supportive, positive friend. But you don't want to bring them into the relationship. So, how do we have a healthy relationship? How do you have a healthy relationship? First of all, you go into the relationship without expectations. You do not attach. You have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Okay? Boundaries, healthy boundaries. But if you have a foundation that hasn't been developed, you haven't had clarity in your psychological uh, body and mind, then you need to work on what healthy boundaries are. You need to take courses in that. You need to go to a therapist to build strength, to keep your power. Because if you're dating a narcissist, you can lose your power, you can give it up. Keeping one foot in and one foot out, and knowing this from the beginning. If you want to have a healthy relationship with someone, that it's not going to last forever, because every relationship you're in, 9 out of 10 are not going to last forever. And what happens at the end of relationships, especially one that was narcissistic, is that you become revengeful. You start destroying, become destructive, and revenge, and it's very painful. And the person that is the victim needs to get therapy in the relationship, because the narcissist doesn't feel that they're a victim, and they'll continually go on and be this callous kind of person without feeling, because they can, because they're armored. So in any relationship, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the key is, if you want to have a healthy, loving relationship and just enjoy the person, go in with no expectations that it is not going to last forever. And please work on not so much attaching. Don't wear your emotions on your sleeve, but have those boundaries. And on that note, I'm going to leave you today with some love, and knowing that, let's see here, I have one little saying that Sigmund Freud said. Let's see here. We have one little statement by Sigmund Freud, and this is, everyone has a part of them that is narcissist, okay? So, but we don't have to let that shape our personality, our being, who we are. Whoever loves becomes humble. Those who love have, so to speak, pawned a part of their narcissism. Sigmund Freud. Thank you for tuning in to It's Your Voice, episode 17. Are you dating a narcissist and narcissistic triangulation? You can look more up about that. There's a lot of information online about this. And this is dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world. May your voice be heard. The DonnaGentileStory.com is a true crime book I wrote, and you can find that on Amazon. And Live Free is another book I wrote, which is available on Amazon. And the websites are the DonnaGentileStory.com and TantraWisdom.com. Thank you for tuning in.